Well, I'm here in the belly of the beast. Y'all might recognize this here setup.
As you can see the spray gun, there's two heads. One head is reducer, which is dextrose with a few additives. The other one is silver nitrate, which is silver nitrate suspended in solution by ammonium hydroxide. So they can't combine until they get to the surface of the lacquer, because that's what precipitates the silver to drop out of solution. So if it happens before it gets to the lacquer, you can have problems getting that silver coating onto the lacquer efficiently, properly. So each one of these is running, and this one just came down as well.
How many bristles can you make out of the motor?
You know, generally for a Tony record, Dave Owens, we do in doing it all, we do 500. We make a set of stamps for every 500.
I did not realize how wobbly, just how thin that is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's about 9 thousandths at its maximum thickness. And the key is that each stamper needs to be really close to it. We don't want much variability, if any at all.
It's like a flexi disc.
Yeah. Right about that weight too. So this is a process. This is the company Cyber. This equipment was all built for CDs, then Blu-rays and all that. But you know, as those started disappearing, they figured out how to get. Cyber used to make equipment for the pressing companies way back. I mean, we had a Cyber centering machine that looked nothing like this back in the 70s and 80s at the place I was at.
Huh.
So the idea with this, he's refined all of this equipment. It's just amazing, the quality. And he retrofitted it all to fit into the record industry since it's been, you know, it was worthwhile, right? Yeah. So it starts off with one grit, 800 grit. It's going to finish it off with 1200 grit.
So it's just polishing it up?
Somewhat. Ian would hate to hear the word polish being used. But
Okay, hold on.
But that,
Come on, Steve.
Yeah, sanding the back of it. I've gotten conditioned the way, you know. So when I say it, I'm like, sorry, Ian.
Yeah.
You'll see as I do it. So, see how far left it moves. Now, what I'm going to do is see how far right it goes, and then move it half that distance. We can use the walkout groove, but I found the audio groove to be more to what I like. So you can see it move quite a bit. So I try to use a groove that doesn't have minimal amount of modulation. And then, so like right there, it's less than the width of the one groove wall. So I'm going to go ahead and punch it. Let off the vacuum, and then take it over to that machine right there to form it. So I'm forming molds for two different types of presses, the virals and the Phoenix Alphas. So it's vacuum, it's going to punch, it's going to do the center, form the center, color the center, and now it's doing the outside edge and punching that excess nickel. This is actually a stamper for Woodland, which is Gillian and Dave's newest album.
Oh, wow.
And so now we have,
They're Grammy winner.
yep. So we've got the form stamper. It's ready to be put into the press, and it's the pitch from center to edge matches our die profile.
Okay.
And the weight, they're probably going to be the next stamper. I like to have them within a couple grams of each. So the A and B, if there's a big difference in weight from one to the next, you have problems with transmitting heat and cooling through the stamper onto the vinyl.
So
pretty
stuff
impressive
in the
design.
dead wax is just for the stamper, or is this what's actually going to be on the album too?
So this is going to press into the record. So
Okay.
that'll end up being left to right. It'll be ACNY 2416 A5. Okay, that's how it'll end up on the record. So
Because of the
so the press shuts down and tells you need to fix something.
It's a good feature to have.
Oh yeah, you don't
I
want
mean,
it to just keep rolling.
No,
yeah.
no, because the damage,
Right.
damage there.
But you just see.
Mr. Lemmy, there's a record in that section you should buy
You always say that.
called X Everything,
Yeah.
Members of Kowloon Walled City.
All right. I'm just very obscure to see what you might.
Yeah, man. The record of all records. Here at Wax-Trax,
That's right.
Denver.
104.72. So yeah, that is really good. It does have a wire sound.
Morning, VC. All right. Hope everybody's doing well out there. I myself have been a bit under the weather since getting back from Denver, but I wanted to talk about that trip. It was incredible. Steve Carlson was kind enough to host me for 4 or 5 days. Had a wonderful time meeting his family. They were all very nice. And we got to do some really cool stuff while I was there. And we had a nice vinyl community meetup on Saturday, also on Friday too. Bigger one on Saturday though. And yeah, got a lot of records. I brought back 28 records from Denver. So we're gonna get into it. And then there's some other odds and ends here as well. And so on Friday, I flew in Thursday night, and there was a bit of a snowstorm when I got in, but wasn't too bad. And then the weather was fantastic the whole time. Steve and I headed out, picked up Tice, Sound of Minder, on Friday, and went to a barbecue place that he recommended. I wish I could tell you the name. It was phenomenal. You walked into the place and it smelled like a miracle. Oh man, really good lunch. And then it was very close to where we were headed, which was the Paramount Pressing and Plating Plant. The three of us were, it was set up through Teddy, Eat Sleep Vinyl, to tour the plant with Gary Sahlstrom, as he's a friend of Teddy's. Of course, Teddy used to work in Salina, Kansas, running the Vinyl Vault Acoustic Sounds, and of course knew Gary from Gary running operations for the plant out there. He is now the master plater at Paramount, and he showed us the steps front to back. And there was one record being pressed while we were there, so there was operations were in full swing on that. A couple guys were there on the side where packaging's done. But they only had the one press of, I think there were 4 presses in there. They only had one running. But they were getting close to getting cardstock for another title. Then once they'd have that, they'd get going on that one. And they talked about some of the other ones they've done recently. They did a special pressing for LCD Sound System, 2,800 copies that were needed right away for shows. And they were able to accommodate because they're just kind of getting going and are able to fulfill much quicker than any other plant. So that was really cool. Also at the plant was Jim Netter from Salina. He was there as a consultant. Awesome to meet him. He had some great insights on everything as well with the operations. And then also one of the managers at the plant that handles all of the business end, Jillian Parker, was there. Awesome to meet her. She's the one that handles everything with the city, making sure everything's up to code like they need it. Handles, a lot of the business end with the artists, everything like that. So, and we even saw the room where the listening's done to make sure it sounds good when it's after it's pressed. The full gamut. It was quite an experience. Awesome to spend. We spent a good bit of time in there and just hanging out and talking with everybody. Awesome experience. And I took some video. I'll put in this video. Nothing like what Steve did. Steve's a professional at this. He's done this before at Third Man. So he took full video of the whole process. So you'll get to see that from Steve Carlson's channel at some point here in the near future of Paramount. But I'm going to put in what I have just so you can see some of the plating process for records. So we left there and then headed over to Twist and Shout on Friday, as I wanted to get a kind of a preview. We had a big meetup set up for Saturday to start there, but we had plenty of time, so thought we'd at least hit one store on Friday. And I was very impressed with Twist and Shout. It reminds me a lot of Amoeba Hollywood. Not quite as much wall stuff, but as far as quantity and sections, it was a lot like Amoeba. There's everything under the sun in there. It was quite overwhelming. I'm glad I did go on Friday because you needed. I mean, I left with 2 good stacks on Friday and Saturday from Twist and Shout, but it's impossible to go through even a quarter of the store in one day. There's so much stuff. But of course, went to the wall first. Didn't see anything on the wall as far as records, 12-inch records were concerned. But they did have a row of 7-inch records on the bottom, rare 7 inches. And I did find one that stood out. And it wasn't cheap. It was actually the most expensive thing I bought the whole time. The most expensive record, 40 some bucks. I got $5 off. So most everything I got is relatively inexpensive on this dig in Denver. So this is Sister Rosetta Tharpe and Mary Knight. Shadrach on the A side on Decca. And on the B side is Nobody's Fault. And it's from 1953 in beautiful condition, the actual record itself. Yeah, fantastic gospel rocking stuff. Sister Rosetta, plays the SG like nobody's business. The queen of rock and roll as far as I'm concerned. I'm not leaving anything of hers I find behind. Yeah, I guess only maybe 4 people have a copy of that listed on Discogs and Collections. I can't remember exactly. I looked at this stuff many days ago now, but I'll try to be as accurate as I can on what I'm talking about here. Tice was excited for me to look at the 78s since he knows I collect 78s. They had a bunch from a new collection come in. And the first one that stuck out, it was in the blues section, which I don't think it was in the right section, but again, Sister Rosetta Tharpe and Mary Knight with the Sam Price Trio. On the A side is Up Above My Head, I Hear Music in the Air. And it's got an original sticker that this record store used to put on their 78s. I wish they wouldn't have, but they did. But it's cool. Latest hits from Rhythm Record Shop in Denver. So, you know, that would have been from many, 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 many years ago, as this is an original 1949 pressing. There were 4 pressings of this that Decca did. And here's the B-side. This disc is in not the best of shape, but it exists all in one piece. And so there you go. The B-side is My Journey to the Sky. So some great gospel rocking stuff from Sister Rosetta Tharpe and company. I'm extremely happy to find that. Next, I found these 10 inches in the punk section. These were used and relatively cheap. These are the original punk recordings from New York City, 1976 to 1977, featuring Sonny Vincent. This is the band Testers. And I've been looking for some of their early stuff for quite a while, since seeing some documentaries on early New York punk. Yeah, and this is very early stuff. You know, there's stuff from CBGB's and Max's Kansas City. Absolutely killer, this band, Testers. Very young kids at the time. And there's a second 10-inch that came out later, Volume 2, and they had them both. And these are on Incognito Records from Stuttgart, Germany, is who put these out. Yeah, they were just, you can see, they were just kids. Their drummer was especially a badass. I'll show you what the records look like. They're in minty shape. Band Testers. There's your Incognito Records label. I normally don't care for buying a lot of 10-inch records, but it's one of the only ways you can really get this band. So I was very stoked to find those. Didn't even know those existed. Went through some of the blues section quickly, and found this used. Traditional blues sung by Brownie McGee on Folkways. This is Volume 2. And what was nice about this, it's a gatefold like a lot of the Folkways records were. Well, it's more of a, well, it's not a gatefold, but it's got 2 sections, and one is for the record. I'll show you the record. It's a nice shape on the Folkways. And the other, it's kind of a split thing, has the booklet. And so a lot of times the booklet is missing, but I believe the booklet is here on this one. Very hard to find these with the booklets still intact. So yeah, I was happy to find this. I didn't have any Brownie McGee in the blues collection, so that one was a great find. Again, the most I paid for any record was 40 some bucks for that rare 7-inch. All these were cheap. Next, Minutemen, Buzz or Howl Under the Influence of Heat. Minutemen record I did not have. What a badass band this was. Mike Watt, such a sick bass player. This on SST. Not an original, but an earlier reissue of this badass punk record. I've been on the want list for a long time. And there's your SST label. Another one from the punk section. And this was all what I found at Twist and Shout on Friday. This was one that I was hoping was still there in the new arrivals section, because I think a month earlier Steve had done a flip video in there, and this record stuck out like a sore thumb. It's one I've been looking for a long time. I want to say since the first time. Oh, who showed this? Oh man, Kieran Needle Groove up in Montreal. And that's Mary Clayton. And this is on the Ode Records label, so it's an original first pressing. Some just fantastic, badass R&B. What a great singer. She does a version of Neil Young's Southern Man that's just absolutely fantastic on this, that opens the record. Some Carole King songs, a Billy Preston song, James Taylor, a Bill Withers track. So it's, you know, her doing a lot of other people's songs, but just her, what a voice. And it's a really nice copy. Here's your Ode Records label. And this can go for quite a bit of money, but the cover's condition is not so great, but the record is nice. And this is the second most I paid for a record. I think this was like $39. But yeah, I was extremely stoked to get this. And then I have one here that Carlson knew I'd been looking for, and he put it in my hands. And I'm not sure how this is actually how this is shown, because it's one of those covers where it could go any which way. But it's Lodger from David Bowie, so I don't know if it goes like this, or this. But there you go. I dig a lot of the songs on this one. On RCA Victor. Nice copy. Early pressing of this. Yeah, Fantastic Voyage is on here. What else? What was the other song I liked on here? I forget. Anyway. Another Bowie for the collection. That was a nice shape. So that's what I picked up on Friday at Twist and Shout with Tyson and Steve. So a really exciting start to the dig in Denver. Right away, I can tell you that what I noticed about Twist and Shout is they had a ton of 7-inch records. And it was overwhelming, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait until Saturday to start really getting into them. Because there was a really nice box up on the counter where the wall was of rare 7 inches. I just kind of stuck my nose in there on Friday. And so that was going to be a focus. And then there was two and a half entire aisles of just used and new 7 inches. A lot of used. Huge new arrival used 7-inch section and quality stuff. And as it turns out, all the record stores we ended up going to in Denver, which was like 4 or 5 record stores, all had incredible 7-inch sections of just tons of rare stuff and different at every shop. That was the one thing that impressed me the most. I've never been in a city that had that kind of selection of 7-inch records. What it is about Denver, I don't know, but so I came home with a lot of those. So going into Saturday, we met up with Richard S. and Michael Poetry on Plastic, and Tice, Sound of Minder. Steve and I did. So we had a really good crew rolling into Twist and Shout. And here's what I picked up on the second day. I started going through those 7 inches, the rare ones. This one, I think, is from 1961. I could be wrong on some of the years on these. This is on Excello Records. This is a blues 7-inch from Lazy Lester. You Got Me Where You Want Me, I think might be the A side, and the Patrol Blues on the B side. I had never seen any blues 7 inches on Excello from Nashville, Tennessee, that label. And I didn't have any Lazy Lester, so I said, what the heck, we're gonna get that. So we're gonna give that a go. Just looked really cool. The next one, there was a Howlin' Wolf 7-inch on Chess. Not a first pressing, but really cool to see this label. I didn't have any 7 inches on this Chess label like this. It's 300 pounds of joy and built for comfort. That one was fairly cheap. It's in decent shape, not great shape. It was in the rare 7-inch section. So some great blues there from Howlin' Wolf. Not sure the year on that one. This one, the guy behind the counter was like, yeah, you need to buy this. And then the guy where I ended up paying for everything was like, damn, I was gonna buy that if it lasted a week. And but it's this My Bloody Valentine 7-inch, the re-release by My Bloody Valentine. It's a very rare one, I think from '91. Some original demos. This one was a little pricey for a 7-inch, but yeah, and it's not shoegazy as much like the stuff that would come on Loveless. But my understanding is this was sold at shows on the Loveless tour. And I don't think there were many pressed. It's very rare. And I wasn't leaving it behind. So looking forward to listening to this. I haven't got into a lot of these records yet. I've been under the weather. Here, this plain labels. So 4 songs on this, on Recreation Records. So a rare My Bloody Valentine 7-inch. Really cool to find that. Keeping with the 7-inches, these next two, well, this one was in the new arrivals. This is from 1959 in dead mint condition. Bo Diddley on Checker, cracking up on the A side with the Great Grandfather on the B side. Not a first issue of this as far as the label is concerned, maybe a second, but from the same year. So this one, Checker put that label on when they pressed it. There might be one earlier, but that's an old, I mean, it's from 1959. So that's some good Bo Diddley rockin' stuff. And then, as stoked as I was to find the Testers 10 inches, I was even more excited to find this. This is another very early hardcore punk band from New York City, maybe one of the first ever. Stimulators, and this is Loud Fast Rules, Run Run Run. This is a reissue. Really, really cool to find this. And it's got some unreleased stuff and liner notes by Henry Rollins. And I've been reading the Rollins book, so this was just really cool to find. And another one from some documentaries I saw that I was interested in, a band I was interested in looking for, Stimulators. So I want some early New York punk I'm finding in Denver. I went back to the 78 section and went through the rest. They had a lot of jazz. A couple stuck out to me, but I only brought a backpack, and honestly, it was only supposed to fit. I brought enough box room to fit about 15 LPs. And as you can see, I bought a lot of 7 inches and some 10 inch and some 78s. But I ended up getting another box from Tice so I could shove that in the bag. And I ended up not even using the box. I used the inner of it because it's this really cool thick bubble wrap packaging thing that Soundome uses when they ship from Italy. The thing's magical. That's what I put the 78s and the 7 inches in. And I was able to fit all the LPs in the other box and get in a backpack on the plane. But anyway, this is the second 78 that I found in Twist and Shout. I want to say this is also from 1953. This is the Lester Young Quintet. And this is only the second copy that's ever been listed on Discogs of this. So this is extremely rare. And it's in gorgeous condition, and it's a promo. It's a disc jockey sample. So it has Almost Like Being in Love, and it has There'll Never Be Another You are the cuts. And in the group is Oscar Peterson on piano, J.C. Hurd on drums, Ray Brown bass, and Barney Kessel on guitar. Of course, with Lester Young on tenor. And this was not getting left behind. Beautiful, beautiful copy. One of the best finds of the trip. Very excited to find that in that collection that they had got in. All right. We're still at Twist and Shout. Of course, Mike Poetry on Plastic is now with us, and he's blown away by the classical section. He had a stack like this, and he had to narrow it down because he decided to go with a rare box set that they had. And so he had this massive stack. We were all looking through the classical because there was a lot of good stuff. It was massive. And I found a None Such title, and it looked interesting, but maybe not for me, so I put it in Tice's hands, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this, and he put this one in my hands, and so I bought it. It's George Crumb, Music for a Summer Evening. Macrosmos 3 for 2 amplified pianos and percussion. It's a None Such promo, and I think Alex had just found a copy of this. Is something I think Tice was mentioning, and I was like, well, if I don't get it, then Alex is gonna be upset with me, and I can't have that. So we'll get into this and see what this is like. Pretty cool find. It was cheap, maybe $10. And then I don't know why I just ended up going through a little bit of rock here and there. I think at that point I was done at Twist and Shout and was waiting for the other guys to make their decisions. And as you can see, not a whole lot of jazz. The jazz section, there was a couple of new records. I was interested in like those new John Chakais, but I can get those anywhere. I was trying to come home with stuff I'm not going to find in Charlotte or necessarily online that easily, for the most part. And all of a sudden I see the Eugene Chadbourne section, and guy can get really strange on the guitar, a lot of weird shit. And so I went and played this on the listening station, and I really didn't care for the vocals all that much, but this is just, everything about this record kind of fits what the hell's going on right now, so I bought it. It's Corpses of Foreign War, an album of protest songs by Eugene Chadbourne with Brian Ritchie and Victor De Lorenzo of the Violent Femmes. And it also has some notes from Eugene Chadbourne, and it notes Greensboro, North Carolina, February of 1986. So if he was living in Greensboro, that's just up the road. So another selling point for me. The cover's kind of torn up a little bit, so it was super cheap. But it's basically the Violent Femmes with Eugene Chadbourne on guitar. I dig the guitars on it. And it actually kind of reminds me of one of our local artists here. So it was another selling point. It's on Fundamental. I think probably from 80, somewhere in the 80s. So that was a weird one to get. Let me see I'll show you what the label looks like. It was just too interesting to leave behind. Really cool looking labels too. Corpses of Foreign War from Eugene Chadbourne. Michael out in San Francisco will probably dig this one. Michael Dawson. It reminds me of Randy Burke. There's footage on my channel on my documentaries. All the times I filled him at Milestone. This kind of fits into the kind of stuff he used to jam about. Warning parents, narrow-minded, ultra-conservative zealots will want to note this album and keep it away from their kids. It contains lyrics of an explicit social and political nature accompanied by rowdy, outrageous music. Perfect for the times we're in. Living in Nazi America. See what else we got here. All right, from there we moved over to Wax-Trax after having a really good lunch. Some empanadas. I think it was Mary's. It might be a small chain. Phenomenal. We went into the first Wax-Trax. There's two of them in one building with a bookstore kind of splitting the two. So there's new records in one part and then used in the other. The new side of Wax-Trax was incredible. It honestly blows Lunchbox away as far as what they carry. Just way better selection of stuff, which is hard to do because Lunchbox carries a lot. but I'm telling you, I was impressed. And again, space in my backpack. I really didn't want to buy very many new records or any at all if I could, but I did leave with 2 from there. I was only going to leave with this one, Chrome Alien Soundtracks. It's a limited edition reissue. I think it's on like a purple clear thing. But it has a nice booklet thing, card. And I've been wanting to get this since Dom highlighted this album quite a while back. Nice pressing, really quality pressing. This has been reissued a few times. So this one I was stoked to find, and it was under 30, so grab that one from the band Chrome. I mean, listen to them on YouTube. I don't know how to really describe this band. I just really dig the guitars a lot. Really good jamming guitars. Chrome, and probably their best record, if you ask anybody, I guess. And then that was going to be it for me in there. But they had a really good markdown section, and this record is pricey. It's like $38.99 normally. It's on the Palm reissue series that Soulflake Continue's been doing. And that's the Bakita E.J. Carroll Orangefish Tears. Yes, there was this original sticker of $38.99, and it was marked down to $21. So I made room in the bag for this, for that price. And it was still sealed, brand new. So yeah, another one. The Palm is a major piece. I believe Tom Minko got it at WFMU. It was probably the most expensive record he got there, I would say. So yeah, I'm happy to have this reissue. This will do me just fine. So that was what I got at the new Wax-Trax, and then we went over to the used Wax-Trax, and again, the 7-inch section was incredible. And while I was with Carlson, we jammed a lot of records at his house. Had a lot of time to do that, and he kept, he'd play a few songs or play a side and then switch the record. So he played me a lot of stuff, and he put on a Dwarves record, and I really digged it, and the whole band, the vocals, the guitars, everything. And so I was like, well, if I see any Dwarves, I might pick it up. And I found a couple 7-inches. This is a 1997 7-inch of Everybody's Girl, Throw That Girl Away and You Gotta Burn on, Recess Records? Or there's a couple titles, or a couple record labels listed on this. But grab that one from Dwarves. I think it's, red vinyl? Can't remember. Whatever. And then this one. And a lot of their covers have full nudity. Just a warning. So I'm going to flash this one up there real quick. And then, so there's that. It's Happy Birthday, Suicide, and Working Class Hole. On the A side is Dwarves. B side is the band Raging Nathans with 2 songs. But I grabbed both of those. And then in the new arrivals was this Crass Penis Envy LP. And it was super cheap. It's an early copy, but it was like $15 because at some point the poster, which is the whole cover, was used as a poster, and it's got the remnants of all the sticky shit that it had to hang on the wall, on there. So it's kind of, trashed, really. It's got these, pieces where he tore it back off the wall still on it. I don't care about that. The record's mint. So I grabbed it because it was, it was cheap and it was there, and I got another Crass record in the collection. Stoked to get that. Oh, it was 18. Sorry, it wasn't 15. It was $18. So that was a good one to find of Crass. Great UK Anarco-punk. A lot of good punk records in Denver. Not much in the way of jazz. I found very, very, very little jazz in Denver, as you're seeing. Also in the used, I went through the Hank Snow section in the country, And this is a mint copy of Hank Snow's Country Guitar. This was $6. Just minty. Look at that. That's a great cover. That'll be some great stuff. I believe he was from Nova Scotia, Canada. My mom got to see him back in the day. My grandfather used to take her to see him in Rochester play on RCA Victor. Beautiful, beautiful minty copy. There was another copy absolutely trashed. It was probably $3, and this one was $6. Really stoked to find that. Some great songs on here. 12th Street Rag. El Rancho Grande. Yeah. Awesome record. If you like old school country. Hank Snow's Country Guitar. So that was what I found used at the used Wax-Trax. I think we went to a coffee shop after that. And Richard S., he only was with us for the Twist and Shout. He had to roll after that. But it was Tice, myself, and Michael, Poetry on Plastic, and Steve Carlson the rest of the day. We ended up going to another record store in an industrial area, and I forget the name of it. I'll put information, though, in the video. But it was an awesome little store, and a really nice owner. That was the thing. The owners of these shops are all cool. Like, the owner of Twist and Shout came and approached us on Friday and said hello. I was wearing one of my Rochester sweatshirts, and he asked about it. Really cool to meet him. This guy at the last shop was really cool. But I found stuff to put in Steve's hands, but I didn't really find much for myself. But I did get this Egberto Gismonti, Danca das Cabacas on ECM. This was like $7. And this is Egberto Gismonti on 8-string guitar, piano, wood, flutes, and voice. Nana Vasconcelos on percussion, marimba, and voice. Beautiful, beautiful Brazilian stuff on ECM. I have some other Egberto Gismonti on ECM that Chris Cole has gifted me that's just phenomenal. Some of the best stuff on the label, as far as I'm concerned. 1977. Fantastic Brazilian vibes. Yeah, really good record. And cheap. And then this was in the glass case at the counter, and I debated. It was a little bit more than I wanted to pay for what it is, but Tice ended up getting it for me as VCLT, which was really, really nice of him to do. And that's this Sun Ra 7-inch. Sun Ra presents the Qualities, original Saturn recording from 1960. And these are 2 Christmas songs that they redid. It was originally on that Saturn Records 7-inch, which is super rare and extremely expensive to find. And this is still sealed, and this is the red vinyl of this. Originally, I took the other sticker off, but it was originally $5.98 at Wax-Trax at some point when it was first released in 2011. This reissue of Sun Ra. So a wonderful addition to the Sun Ra collection. Thank you, Tice. So that was everything I got on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Steve and I headed out to Colorado Springs and toured the Garden of the Gods. Just unbelievable hiking we were able to do in there. The scenery is incredible. I'd never been there. I've been to Colorado a lot, but had never been down to Colorado Springs. Seeing the Air Force football field where it is was very cool. The Air Force Academy. I really loved Colorado Springs. It's where Michael lives. Yeah, it was excellent time there. We went to, I think it was Voodoo Brewing, which was a cool place. Yeah, and we did go to Tiger Records. Awesome owners in that shop. And they actually held a record for me that they're shipping to me now. I'll show that in a later video. And I did find this in the jazz section. So I did come back with a really nice jazz piece for my collection. As you know, I collect ESP disc. Bob James Explosions. It's not a first pressing. The first pressings say Bob James Trio. Explosions up here. It is a early repress on ESP disc, and I've always just had a Get Back Italian reissue. So, but I'm happy to have this version, because it is different, and it was cheap. So, yeah, and of course Robert Posar's on percussion on this, one of his rare appearances on any record. Yeah, Bar Phillips bass, Bob James piano, fantastic record. I'll show you the label on this. This is the orange ESP disc label. Beautiful shape on the record itself. The cover's a little shot, but so that's why it was cheap. But I'm very stoked to have this for my ESP disc collection. It's a very, very small shop in a strip mall in Colorado Springs, but man, do they have good stuff in there. All genres, different. They have, and again, another incredible 7-inch section. Tons of rare Beatles 7-inches. I could have bought a bunch of those. But that's the only record I bought when I was there with Steve. Steve found some really good stuff in there. You know, there was a, what was it? I think it's the first time he's bought one too. What was it? I'll be right back. Oh yeah. It was a Hawkwind that was on the wall that he bought. First time getting into Hawkwind, so that could be a rabbit hole for Steve. Speaking of Steve, he also gave me a couple records as VCLT. This Parliament Motor Booty Affair. Parliament I did not have, and this has the really cool gatefold with all of the characters to pull out and mess with. So this is one I'll be jamming very soon. This will be, of course, dope as hell. Parliament record. And then, of course, one of his favorite bands, Cramps. I went through checked out his Cramps collection. Unbelievable. And he gave me this one. Look Mom, No Head. From the Cramps on Big Beat. So I'll add this to my Cramps collection. And that is all the records from the Denver trip. And really quickly, I'll just show you a couple more things that came in, and then we'll call it a day on this video. It's a lengthy one. This came from Carolina Soul, Stalag 13, In Control, some great California punk, early stuff on Upstart Records, and original. Not an easy record to find. The only thing I got from this last auction with Carolina Soul. The guys in Tied Down TV got to interview the lead guy from this band recently. So yeah, man, this is Ron, the vocalist. Yeah, this is in great shape. I couldn't believe that this went as cheap as it did. I got it for like 20 bucks or something. It goes for 50 or 60 bucks in, you know, halfway decent shape. So this was a steal on Carolina Soul. Maybe nobody knew what it was, but this is a hugely influential early punk record. Then I got a package in the mail from Rob the Waxed. I won a couple records on his last jazz auction. Oliver Lake, Holding Together on Black Saint. And I didn't have any Oliver Lake stuff as a leader, so I was stoked to get a couple of these records. I always love showing the Black Saint label. It's a minty copy, beautiful condition. And so we won that one, and I also won the other Oliver Lake that he had up for auction. NTU Point from Which Creation Begins on Arista Freedom. And this one has Bakita Carroll on it, on trumpet, Joseph Boyd trombone, John Hicks piano, Charles Bobo Shaw on drums, Don Moye on conga. I mean, this is an incredible, incredible lineup, an incredible record. yeah, very stoked with those. And also, I had he had put this in my pile. This Horace Tapscott in New York on Interplay Records CD, and this has some previously unissued takes added to the CD. That's, I don't believe, on the vinyl. And it's Horace Tapscott piano, Art Davis bass, and Roy Haynes drums. Not a super difficult record to find, but the LP goes for 100 and up on a bad day. So this CD was wonderful to get for a good price. Yeah, very, very happy with that. And then he threw this in as VCLT, which is very much appreciated. I don't have any Art Pepper here in the house, and I do now. And I have a complete Artist House Recordings, Promise Kept CD box. There's 5 discs here. This is really well put together. Wonderful booklet. And this was a gift. I'm really stoked to have this because, I didn't have any Art Pepper. Now I have plenty of Art Pepper. Wonderful artwork on these CD sleeves. Really well done. I think he has a connection to who made this box set. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, man. And then lastly, I had to get some sleeves. Obviously, I got a bunch of records here and I ran out of sleeves. And so I snuck into Repo, got some sleeves, and picked up another 7-inch out of their 7-inch section, The Rats, No Complex EP. So this is a Japanese press on Freshwater Records. This, I guess the songs, this is from 2000, so this is recorded live, yeah, live to 4-track in 2000. And I guess this is a band from Australia. The Rats. So we'll see what this is all about. Complete death by, as Tice likes to say. I want to say Henry's talked about this band in his book. But this needs a clean. This might have actually been from the guy from Anti-Scene's collection. Matter of fact, I believe this was, yeah, this is in his collection. So another one here in the house. That's it. Thanks again, Mr. Carlson. Hell of a trip to Denver. Peace.